This episode of One Hit Thunder is brought to you by DistroKid.
When you think about businesses that are selling through the roof, like Aloe or Allbirds, sure, you think about a great product, a cool brand, and great marketing. But an often overlooked secret is actually the businesses behind the business, making selling, and for shoppers, buying, simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. Nobody does online business better than Shopify. It's home of Shop Pay, the #1 checkout in the world. You can use it to boost conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts going abandoned and way more sales going through to checkout. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/income, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/income to upgrade your selling today. That's shopify.com/income.
When did making plans get this complicated? It's time to streamline with WhatsApp, the secure messaging app that brings the whole group together. Use polls to settle dinner plans. Send event invites and pin messages so no one forgets Mom's 60th. And never miss a meme or milestone. All protected with end-to-end encryption. It's time for WhatsApp. Message privately with everyone. Learn more at whatsapp.com.
One hit is all you need to make the money guaranteed. And you can live off royalties forever. And it makes me wonder, is it just a wonder, or is it one hit thunder?
Chris, we're doing a bonus episode because this little band that I like, Punchline, just put out a new album
Today,
and I think you're connected to them in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, I'm a little bit connected. I only have so many of these days in my lifetime. It's a new album day, which I've got to experience this day maybe 10 or 11 times in my life, and it's always an exciting day.
So the album that we're talking about is Somewhere to Land, which is this your 10th album?
Yeah, we're calling it our 10th album. We had a couple albums early in our career that we don't recognize really as Punchline albums, even though they kind of are. We kind of start with Major Motion Picture in 2001. It's our 10th album if you're counting a couple EPs that we kind of consider full albums. Yes, it's our... We're saying it's our 10th album. I'll go with that.
Okay. I'll listen. I'll accept it. I have been along for the punch. I got late to the Punchline journey, but once I got on to Punchline Airlines, we're going to use flying analogies for this album. When I boarded Punchline Airlines, I never got off the plane.
Yeah. What year? 2007?
So, yeah, for me, it was when Jonathan London did his, Hulu original series Singledom and used Somewhere in the Dark as the theme song for it. Right. And me, as, a big Ben Folds fan, immediately was like, whoa, whoa, what is this? Nice. This is what Punchline is. Now, admittedly, Just Say Yes might not really be the best introduction to the sound of Punchline at that time, but it got me in the door and I went backwards, and then I've stayed with you guys basically from that point, just loving every album. I was a huge fan of Lion, so I've been waiting a long time for a follow-up album, and I'm very excited that it's finally here.
It's here, man. Yeah, it was a little while. I mean, we had a whole pandemic thing in there, and we also had a whole... Do bands release albums anymore? Is that the way of the world? And we definitely released singles in that time. And we also released, an EP of songs from 94. And then we released our Christmas album and stuff like that in between. But yes, it was a break. It was a length of a break between full lengths that I never want to take again.
And as a listener, I hope you never do.
We won't.
Because I want more and more of this. Now, there are a couple songs, if you've been a diehard Punchline fan following every single drop, there are, what would you say, 2 or 3 songs that might be familiar to the diehards, but we're still getting a decent chunk of brand new tunes on this album.
We are, yeah. If you heard, we released the song, the second track on the album, Find Yourself. Now, we released that a few years back, but this is a new mix. It's a different version of the song Find Yourself. And then there's also a new mix and / partial re-recording of the song Darkest Dark on this album. And, we can get into that, why we went back and forth about that. But for the most part, this is 10 new tracks, some of which we have released in the month or two leading up to the album. It's an exciting day, and it's kind of, we've done a couple of these episodes. We did one for a Taylor Swift album. We did one for a Green Day album, where it's kind of our first thoughts on it. And I guess my first thoughts for my own band's album are a little bit biased and also like I'm not experiencing them right away. And you did hear this before it came out, but it's still a fresh new thing to you, right?
I heard the unmastered version that you sent me during the summer. Right. But this afternoon is when I sat down and listened to the final mix versions of these sons. Let's just kind of go. It's only 10 tracks. Sure. I think we can go track by track on this.
Sure.
The lead, I would say, what was the lead single on this? The kind of like announcement that there's a new album coming out track. I Don't Want to Live in This World Anymore. Loved this track. I remember when you sent me this in advance and just said, we're thinking this might be the lead track for the album. I was like, that's a great pick. Nice. It's a great pick, and it's a great opener. It's a perfect opener.
I appreciate you saying that, because I've said this before on podcasts. I had to fight for that. Like, I like to pick my battles, and this being the first track on the album and this being the first song we released from the album were both battles I chose.
Okay.
That I believed in this song. Part of it was that, to a certain extent, with the way of the just what's going on in the world right now and in the United States, and just there's a lot of bad stuff going on, and we don't have to make this episode all about that. But I just felt this song matched the vibe of the way things are at the moment, and I wanted to lead with that. Does that make sense?
That does. If you can give a little bit of a behind the scenes, what were some of the other first track contenders before that you were kind of fighting against? Not to say that, I want to stress, not to say that any of the songs you're going to name are bad songs, but obviously the first song that people listen to is important on the track sequence as the introduction to the album. So I'm just kind of curious what some of the other options were.
I think Corey and Steve were both kind of in the camp of the second track, Find Yourself, would be the first track on the album. I argued against that a lot. I mean, I do like that song, and I think it sounds good, and I do think in a world where people hadn't already heard that song years ago, that would have been cool. My argument was like, hey, a lot of people that like our band already know this song, and I think you got to hit them with something new. And I realize we live in a different world now where you're not necessarily, I take that back. People do still listen to the records and stuff, but I'm just saying people listen to albums maybe a little differently. I hope they listen to them from front to back. That would be preferable. There's a reason why we have these arguments about what track is what and kind of work out the flow of the album. But Find Yourself was the other one we were discussing.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think your argument makes sense. Like, Darkest Dark is a great opening track, but you don't want it to be the opener to your brand new album when it was already the opener to the previous album. You know what I mean? Like, you do want something new and fresh right out the gate. That's arguably the first time someone hears this song ever is when they're hitting play on their I guess on their iPod or their iPhone. I don't know. I'm so old tech still. I was about to say on their CD player. I think I'm the only one that still listens to anything in a CD player.
Well, it's funny too because everyone's experiencing it differently, and even I just assume that all the people that like our band are gonna hear that we have a new album and hear songs from it on the internet. But I got to keep in mind there are people out there who aren't that on the internet, who aren't like for example, Paul from Punchline is on no social media sites. Yeah. He has no social media, but. There are people like that out there, so I wonder, will they just order the new Punchline record and experience it that way? I hope there are some people out there like that. I think that that's cool. But, I don't know. Point being, I argued for I Don't Want to Live in This World Anymore to be the first track. This is a song that we, considered recording a long time ago and were kind of talked out of it by Mark McCluskey. He was like, that song's kind of a downer or whatever. But I always really like this song. And also it's really fun to play live. We started playing it live now, and man, it's one of my favorites to play on the bass and rock out now. So
I love that. Well, then let's go to track 2, which we already talked about. This was kind of during the 2 or 3 years of random singles being released by Punchline. Find Yourself. Of all of those singles, was there a lot of debate on which one was going to kind of get brought back for this album, or was it kind of always Find Yourself was the one that you wanted to do more with?
That's a really good question, because there were some singles we released that aren't part of this album.
I mean, I love Can I Get a Break?
That's one of them. And it's funny to think that these songs that are just singles, like random singles, they're out there on the streaming platforms, but they kind of get lost to if they're not part of a bigger collection, they can get kind of forgotten and lost. So I guess we just really believed in Find Yourself. It's another one that's really fun to play. It is very uplifting, and for lack of a better word, I think the song rocks, but it's also a very simple song. The chord progression doesn't change throughout the whole song, and as a band who tends to throw the kitchen sink in a lot of songs, it was very much just a song that you can get in the vibe of it, get in the flow of it, and kind of stay in that mood for the whole song. And I think that's what we as a band really liked about the song, and that's probably why this one was a guarantee to actually be on the album.
Good. I mean, and it is a good one. I mean, you guys, there was not really a bad song to come out of that block of random singles, but I can definitely see why this one is kind of the one that you go with, right? Because the easy answer would be Be Right There. Mm-hmm. But I mean, at this point, that song's how many years old, and it's kind of gotten its time as a one-off single. It really did get its time in the sun a little bit, where Find Yourself, I do feel is one of the better ones, but not like I said, I don't really recall seeing it live that much. I think that it's cool that it's getting a second chance as a punchline, as a heavy hitter official Punchline song.
And I think I don't know if songs get buried in albums anymore. That's another thing you could talk about, you put this song at 8 out of 10, not as many people will hear it. I don't really know, man. I don't know how to figure this stuff out anymore. I think everything's different. A random song, regardless of what track number it is on the album, could catch on with people. Pushing 30 years into this thing, man, I'm still trying to figure it out.
Well, after this, we get what's the most recent of the singles you guys have put out, which is I Will Wait.
1, 2, 3. No, you don't fool me with your dandelion eyes. Yeah, come on, give it to me.
What about this one was one where you guys said, okay, this is going to be, we're going to have 3 singles that we're going to release to bring people in on this album. What do you think is one of the features of I Will Wait that made it stand out as one of those songs to really be utilized to push and promote the new release?
I would say that this song felt like that a lot of people, different people of different tastes, could like this song. I think it had a real, to me, a universal appeal. It's not like a punk song,
No.
at all. And it makes me feel good when I listen to it. It has like a good vibe, I think. I think it had relatable lyrics that I felt like resonated with me and would resonate with people. Yeah, I thought I Will Wait was one of 2 or 3 of the strongest. I think it's like one of the strongest tracks on the album. I think as a band, we all agreed that something about the feel, that beat too, just like a simple like boom, boom, like it's different, but it always put me in the mind of that Format song, the first single, know me, like where it's just this steady beat that like is like feel good and has a feel good vibe. I don't know if I'm doing a good job of explaining about it. It's just something felt special about this song to us.
Yeah, no, for sure. The 4th song is the second of the 3 singles you guys used to promote the album, Tunnel Vision.
I'll never do it again, at least until next time. Seems like what you want is a literal piece of my mind. Yeah, I've got tunnel vision, got my eye on the prize when you know what you want.
And this one I love. I feel like the art of a song just starting with vocals and guitar is like kind of faded out a little bit. So I was really excited when I hit play on this one, and it's just, as Krista Meek says, don't bore us, get to the chorus. Like it is, we got lyrics at 0.1 second of this song. And I love this one. This is one of the ones that I really, really liked when I heard it.
Huh. Interesting. I do feel like this song is like vintage Punchline song in a way. And I felt like maybe this is what people want from Punchline to a certain extent, but not saying that like we wrote it to be that. It's the way the song came out of us. And when I listen back, I'll be honest, I like all these songs. I'm proud of all of them. I like them all. But it's probably low on my, out of the 10, it's kind of low on my rankings of the album. And I don't know if I'm just not in that place right now, that vibe. Oh man, I this sounds like I'm like talking shit on my own band song, but I can have opinions on these songs, like from a listener's perspective as well. But I think it's a good song. If people like it, I'm psyched. I don't like dislike it or something. It's just not my favorite on the album.
All right. Well, one of my absolute favorites is the next track. Another one that has this, for starters, has this very 80s feel right out the gate. And then to my surprise, when the vocals kick in and it's my podcast buddy Chris Fafalio's taking the lead on a Punchline track for the first time in I don't know how long, boy, did I get excited.
I'm pretty psyched about the feedback I've gotten about this song so far. I've had several people say that it was their favorite song on the album, which is really nice because when you sing a song, man, and you put it out there, this one like came out of me and it's my voice out there front and center, man. And when it depends on when I'm listening to a song I sing. Sometimes I can listen to it in the right time and with the right people and be like, nice, I sound good, this is cool. And then I can experience it through other people's ears who I might feel more self-conscious and be like, oh man, I sound terrible or whatever, and I think maybe that's a normal thing for people to experience. But yeah, I'm pretty proud of this song. It came from a real place. And like you said, I do credit Corey a lot for kind of steering it in that 80s direction. He added a lot of like the synth and really brought that vibe out, because it could have been a less synthy song. It could have been a more straight up just like punk song. He helped it sound really contemporary and like a modern song that people could dance to a certain extent. Yeah, I'm really happy with how that one turned out. I'm glad you like it, man. I appreciate it.
Was there, just out of curiosity, because as a person who listens anytime a new episode of a band called Punchline is released, I think I'm probably one of the first people to text you his feelings after the episode drops in the morning. It becomes like my top priority when new episodes come out. And I remember that, I think it was when you were doing 37 Everywhere, there was this conversation of, enough of the three different guys that sing, you need to solidify one vocalist in this band. Was there a debate about, should you sing lead on this? Should it be Steve? Or did the band just unanimously be like, this is going to sound best in Chris's voice and let's just do it?
I have this coming Monday. If you're listening to this episode when it comes out, I'm the guest on Chris DeMakes a Podcast. And not talking about this song, talking about a different song that I sing on this album. But got into this a little bit. And it's funny that I don't know exactly, because I have no qualms with... I get satisfaction in... Like, I feel really proud when I write songs and everyone in the band agrees this is a good song and we're going to do this song. I feel real pride in that. Like, I get real satisfaction in writing a song. I do not feel it necessary to sing said song. See, I don't think Steve ever sang this song, another one. A different song that we're going to talk about, we did do a demo where Steve sang it. And with both of these... I do believe I had the conversation like, yo, guys, I have no problem not singing this. If we feel it's better for someone else to sing this, please, by all means. I never insist that I sing the song. And I don't know why Steve wouldn't want to sing it, except for maybe that some of the way I write and the melodies that I write aren't best suited to his range where he feels comfortable singing or something. And maybe part of it, to a lesser extent, maybe part of it is that, and I don't know, I'd have to ask him this, but I think maybe part of it too is like lyrically, it's coming from me. Like, it is my feelings and emotions that I've, put to music, and there's something more real about delivering it from that person. That might be the more like heady way to explain that. But hey, man, I definitely got some real positive feedback, especially on this song called Another One. And it makes me feel good.
Listen,
so
I love when there's multiple vocalists in a Punchline album. So I am all on board for this. Earlier, you were talking about with Tunnel Vision, that Tunnel Vision kind of feels a little bit of what you think people expect out of Punchline, or what people might be wanting from Punchline. I think you could say the same thing for the next track here, Get Me Out. This one's a real... Ooh. I love how much this one rocks.
It's funny when we've made enough albums now that we know, like, we could say like, oh, what's going to be track 6 on this album? Like, that's like a very specific thing on a Punchline album. It's kind of like an outside the box sort of song on a lot of our albums. And this is the one. And something we think about these days, Matt, is we know we're releasing the album on vinyl, on records. So if it's a 10-track album, song 6 is kind of like, it's like a second first track.
Yeah.
It is the first track of the second, the second side of the album. So it's interesting to think like that. I love Get Me Out. When Steve first sent the demo of this, that was one where I was like, oh yeah, we have to do this. It's rockin', and it switches between 4/4 and 6/8, time signatures. I think that's really cool. I think it's relatable. It goes to some interesting places dynamics-wise. And this song has my favorite moment on the album. Ooh. And it comes towards the end of the song. If you pay attention, our friend JB, who produced and did a lot of vocal producing on this album, you know JB, we've had him on this podcast before. He sings this melody. It's just an ooh. It's like an ooh, ooh, and it's like I don't know, like give you chills kind of moment on this song. And I think this is like a really interesting and like kind of at times adventurous song for us.
Yeah. No, I really like this one.
Hey there, One Hit Thunder listeners. Are you ready to take your music to the next level? Well, get ready to rock, because this episode is brought to you by DistroKid, the ultimate digital music distribution service for artists like you. With DistroKid, you can easily upload your songs or albums to online stores and streaming platforms like Spotify, Apple Music, and YouTube Music, reaching fans all around the globe. But that's just the beginning. DistroKid offers a ton of awesome features like Hyperfollow, which helps you promote your releases and get pre-saves on your songs, all for free. But wait, there's more. The DistroKid app is now available on iOS and Android. With the app, you can manage your releases, track your streaming stats, and even withdraw your earnings, all from the palm of your hand. And for those looking to perfect their sound, check out Mixia. This powerful tool allows you to put the finishing touches on your tracks in minutes, ensuring they sound polished and professional every time. But that's not all. DistroKid has just launched a brand new feature called Instant Share, allowing you to easily share large files securely with collaborators, producers, and more. With Instant Share, you can keep your music streaming at the highest quality while making the best impression possible. So what are you waiting for? Elevate your music career today with DistroKid and unlock a world of possibilities. Possibilities that I know all about because I've been using DistroKid for years. It's seriously great. If you haven't used it before, you're going to love it. And One Hit Thunder listeners get an exclusive offer, 30% off your first year with DistroKid by signing up at distrokid.com/VIP/OneHitThunder. That's distrokid.com/VIP/OneHitThunder.
Eczema isn't always obvious, but it's real. And so is the relief from Ebglyss. After an initial dosing phase, about 4 in 10 people taking Ebglyss achieved itch relief and clear or almost clear skin at 16 weeks. And most of those people maintain skin that's still more clear at 1 year with monthly dosing.
Ebglyss, lebrikizumab LBKZ, a 250 milligram per 2 milliliter injection, is a prescription medicine used to treat adults and children 12 years of age and older who weigh at least 88 pounds or 40 kilograms with moderate to severe eczema, also called atopic dermatitis, that is not well controlled with prescription therapies used on the skin or topicals, or who cannot use topical therapies. Ebglyss can be used with or without topical corticosteroids. Don't use if you're allergic to Ebglyss. Allergic reactions can occur that can be severe. Eye problems can occur. Tell your doctor if you have new or worsening eye problems. You should not receive a live vaccine when treated with Ebglyss. Before starting Ebglyss, tell your doctor if you have a parasitic infection.
Searching for real relief? Ask your doctor about Ebglyss and visit ebglyss.lilly.com or call 1-800-LILY-RX or 1-800-545-5979.
This episode is brought to you by State Farm. Checking off the boxes on your to-do list is a great feeling. And when it comes to checking off coverage, a State Farm agent can help you choose an option that's right for you. Whether you prefer talking in person, on the phone, or using the award-winning app, it's nice knowing you have help finding coverage that best fits your needs. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
I'm Scott Hansen, host of NFL Red Zone. Lowe's knows Sundays hit different when you earn them. We've got you covered with outdoor power equipment from Cobalt and everything you need to weatherproof your deck with Trex Decking. Plus, with lawn care from Scott's and, of course, Pit Boss grills and accessories, you can get a home field advantage all season long. So get to Lowe's, get it done, and earn your Sunday. Lowe's, official partner of the NFL.
If you thought goldenly breaded McDonald's chicken couldn't get more golden, think Golder, because new sweet and smoky special edition gold sauce is here. Made for your chicken favorites. At participating McDonald's for a limited time.
Make your next move with American Express Business Platinum. Enjoy complimentary access to the American Express Global Lounge Collection. And with a welcome offer of 150,000 points after you spend $20,000 on purchases on the card within your first 3 months of membership, your business can soar to new heights. Terms apply. Learn more at americanexpress.com/business-platinum. Amex Business Platinum. Built for business by American Express.
The American work ethic demands a hard-working power grid. For nearly 140 years, Siemens Energy has been driving America's energy expansion. Our expertise and broad portfolio supports a stronger energy system. Today, our equipment helps generate 25% of U.S. electricity. From coast to coast, Siemens Energy is building a more robust and reliable U.S. grid. Let's make tomorrow different today. Learn more at SiemensEnergy.com.
I also, again, I said this about Tunnel Vision. I like when a song kicks in right away with some lyrics and gets you bopping. And the next track here, Whichever Way the Wind Blows, another one that just, you get right into it, and I'm loving it right out the gate.
Yeah. Windows close and doors will open. A chapter jumps from a broken mirror. Some pieces disappear. What's up will fuel the uncertain year.
The thing I remember about this song is when I first sent you the album, you picked this one out. I don't know if you still feel that way, but you said that this was your favorite song. Do you remember telling me that?
This was Barb and I's. We were listening to it together on the couch, and we were both like, ooh, this is one we hope to hear live one day.
What is it about this song that grabbed you?
I honestly don't know. And it's funny because I'm usually like Mr. Lyrics. You know, like on this show, I'm usually the lyrics guy and you're usually the music and vibes guy. But often on first listen, it's just, how does this one make me feel? And like, I'm going to make a very random reference here, but I'm always looking for a song. You've seen the movie Bring It On, I imagine, right?
I know what it is. I don't know that I ever watched
you've never seen Bring It On. Okay, never mind. But there's a scene in Bring It On where Kirsten Dunst has a crush on this guy who's in a punk band, and he gives her a tape of his band, and she's listening to it for the first time, and at first she's kind of like, I don't like this, but then as it starts to like really rock out, she like finds herself like jumping on the bed and just like so full of energy. And I'm always looking for a song that makes me feel the way Kirsten Dunst feels listening to punk music for the first time.
Okay.
And this is like one of those songs where you just, I don't know, it takes me back to feeling good. Like you listen to it and it's like, I can envision myself, if this was on an early Punchline album, this would be one of those windows down, radio cranked, going on a long drive in the summer kind of songs. And I love that in music. So
it's got a double time chorus, like it picks up, and something about this song that I thought maybe you would say, but this might not be the reason, but the verses of this song, both the melody and sort of like the guitars, there's something about it that creates a like nostalgic feel.
I think that's what I'm trying to say, right? Like it's a song that makes me think of summers that I've already lived. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like it's like, oh yeah, like this is a windows down driving with your friends to the beach kind of song.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like there are certain like Green Day songs that even if it's a new song, there's something about the feel of it. Maybe it's kind of inexplicable, but I think it might have something to do with like some certain guitar tones and chords and certain melodies that just pull on your heartstrings in a certain way. And I think that's what this song has.
I can give you a prime example while you're talking about Green Day, right? Like they did a trilogy of albums that I think most of the fans do not like. That was Uno, Dos, Tre.
Yeah.
There is a song on Uno. So we're talking about Green Day from maybe 10 years ago that we're talking about. But there's a song in there called Rusty James that, like you said, I listen to that song and it feels like, even though it's very clearly a new Green Day song, just the way the melody is on the chorus and the guitar line, it makes me feel like I'm listening to my favorite, like my old favorite Green Day song, because like it's like da 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 da. Da, 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 da,
I don't even know this song.
Yeah.
I don't even know this song, but you just doing that, da, da, da. Like, I'm like, oh, I get it. I get what you're talking
you know what
about.
I mean? Like, it's like those little vocal tricks and that, like, the jumps that just make you be like, oh, yeah. And this song's got that in droves. Nice. But I want to know this next track, why. You know that I love Darkest Dark. I think I've been one of the most vocal, like, Darkest Dark should be the biggest song that Punchline's ever written kind of guys. Like, I hear this song and I envision it in movies and TV shows. There's something about this song that I think is so universal. Is that one of the reasons why you said let's give this one a second once over, or why come back to Darkest Dark, which did get like released with this music video for? It's not like this was a deep cut on Lion. Yeah. This was a lead single from Lion.
Yeah, that was a debate, an inner band debate that we had via email and text thread, and I think some of us were like, why that? We already released this. Why would we do it again? And I think this was one where, you know, you got to choose your battles. Like my battle was, I don't want to live in this world anymore as track one in the first single. That was my battle. And this was a battle where I was probably on the side of, we already released it. Why would we do that?
Yeah.
But I was like, okay, I'm not going to fight against it too much because I do see, first of all, re-recorded the drums. I retracked the bass. It's very similar in some ways to the Lion version, but if you A/B them, they are a good bit different.
You can catch the differences. It's not like when you did Green Hills on Thrilled and then did it again on Lion, where it's practically a whole different song. But you can hear the studio difference for sure.
And I think that it's exactly what you said, that as a band, I think especially Steve, but in general as a band, really believe in this song still. Like, we like having it be part of our set. My suggestion, and then it didn't happen, was, you know how you said you like how some of these songs just start boom with vocals and lyrics? I said, hey, why don't we cut out the intro and just start with, I feel the blood running through my, and just like get to it.
Ooh, now, that could be cool.
I just
want to hear what that sounded like. I just want to hear a quick sample of what that would have sounded like so I could make my own decision. But the version that I'm hearing in my brain sounds awesome.
See, that was, I had already chosen my battle, but whatever. It still has the intro on the song, which live is like this moment to breathe in the set for a second, and whatever. Live's a whole different thing. But in general, I think part of it too is, I brought up earlier, and whether I'm wrong or right, about, you know, maybe music should be separate from what is currently happening in the world, be it good or bad. Maybe music should be its own thing. But I do think the message of this song, basically, that in the darkest of times when you're going through it, I'll be there for you, is just such a nice message that we need more of in the world. And it's not even necessarily like a love song. It's more, it's
a friendship song to me. I've always heard it as a friendship song.
Yeah. And that's and people can interpret it however they want. It could be looked at as a love song. It could be love among friends. It could be a romantic love, whatever. But I just think that if you could bottle up good feeling and what I would want people to take away from our band to a certain extent, this song is kind of that. And so one more time, you know what I think about is how many times the Plain White T's released Hey There Delilah on albums over and over and over. And not saying we're going to keep releasing Darkest Dark on albums, but to have it on 2 albums, slightly different version, and kind of, if by some chance someone missed Line and came back, hey, check out Darkest Dark. That's all.
Yeah. All right. We got 2 more tracks here. We've got the title track Somewhere to Land, which I've got a bunch of questions about here.
Sure.
For starters, when did you guys decide that this was going to be what the album got named after?
We had a few ideas of what to name the album. At one point, we were sold on calling the album Find Yourself. And I think for me, I think I argued against that. And I think, not to take undue credit, but I do think I'm the one who suggested Somewhere to Land. And for no other reason, Matt, and this is I probably shouldn't say this, for no other reason than I thought it sounded cool.
Yeah,
which sometimes I think that's okay, without having like some deeper meaning. I didn't like the fact in calling the album Find Yourself. One, the song had already been out for a long time, and two, yourself in an album title. I didn't like that for some reason. And also I think that Incubus had an album that kind of sounded, was it Incubus?
Make Yourself. They put out an album called Make Yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think I didn't like that it was so close to that. And Somewhere to Land in my head, and even in the song, it felt like, hopefully this band for me, but also just our music, I wanted it to, in my head anyway, I don't know if my whole band felt this way, but for our music be somewhere that you could land, that you could ground yourself in, to be like a constant in your life or something, that we can give you somewhere to land, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that absolutely makes sense. And then we end with Focus on Yourself, where it's a little bit synthy again. And who's this on the lead vocals again? Chris Fafius is closing out a Punchline album with this track.
Right? Once again, now you'll get the full story if you listen to the Chris DeMakes a podcast coming this Monday after we release this episode you're listening to right now. I chose this one over another one for my episode, which could have went either way, but I just felt like this one was very much an epic Punchline tune. You know, there's a lot happening, and I liked the message of it, and also I like that all five of us sing on it. Yeah, I probably sing the most on it, but I really wanted Paul to sing the second verse and pre-chorus, and Steve sings the bridge, and Trev and Corey did a ton of the harmonies and background vocals and everything, and it's like a culmination. I do think it's funny, and this is a little bit of a spoiler to the Chris DeMakes episode, but that the last thing you hear on the whole album is my voice just solo, like the last word on the album is my voice. Thanks, band. Thanks for letting me get the last word on the album. And and that's how it ended, with this big kitchen sink, huge production of a song that I think also had a good message. So I really hope that people like this album, because we took a while to make it and we put our hearts into it, and it is not, I mean, you know how I can get fired up these days about being scared about like fake stuff getting out there more and more. This album is as real as it comes, as far as the emotion and the ourselves that we put into it, really to a point of, it took us a long time, because I don't know if it's over perfectionism or something, where you could drive yourself crazy with that kind of stuff. It took a while, but it's here, and I hope that everyone will give it a good chance as a whole piece. And if you want to do it song by song here and there a little bit, but I do feel like it's an album. If you listen to it from front to back, it's very much like an album that you can experience as a whole work.
I would agree with that. I got 2 more quick questions for you, I guess, not directly tied to the album, but what I think people listening might be curious about. So one question actually ties to, you mentioned that Paul gets to sing a little bit on this closing track. Now, this is the first album in a while since Paul's been officially back in the band, and I know that seeing you guys live, Paul has been, taking a lot of vocal parts here and there. He does the chorus for the Linger cover now, and a few other things. What was the timeline in Paul joining the band along with the recording of this? Was this like kind of written and getting started when it was that weird in between time?
Yeah, Paul joined. We were mid recording, but not too late that he couldn't be heavily involved. I mean, there are certain songs that were further along that, Paul still got to put his mark on, but probably not as much of his mark as, any of us would have liked, But now, moving forward, Paul will be on the ground level of every song. And I think that Paul is so good that if you have a song and you bring Paul in, no matter what part of the process you bring him in, he's going to put his mark on it, and he is going to improve the song, which is cool. He's that good. And luckily he rejoined the band early enough to be a big part of this album, and that was even vocally, like when him and I were working on Focus on Yourself together, I would sit at the board and hit record while he tracked his vocals, and he would do the same for me. That was important to me. I really wanted to have his voice featured on that song, and, he's all over the album. So, yeah, I would have liked it for it to be even a little earlier that Paul was back in the band, but I'm glad that he got involved when he did, because he still got to put his mark on this album, which is cool.
And just because, we talk about songwriting so much on this show, not as much as Krista Makes, but we do look into these different groups and how they craft songs. I just want to get a kind of a very brief, because I'm sure you'll dive into it so much deeper on the DeMakes episode, that everyone should subscribe to Krista Makes a podcast and listen to the episode on Monday. But when it comes to, now you're a band of 5 people, and I would say that probably 4, if not all 5 of you, are songwriters in your own right. Like, what is the process between a bunch of songwriters getting down to the 10 tracks that are going to get recorded on this album? Like, I'm sure that there's hundreds of demos that were passed around before you got down to this final 10.
I would say we weren't narrowing down hundreds. We have hundreds of demos, but you're probably narrowing down. I think we kind of knew which 20 we had to narrow down to 10 by the time it was really decision time. All 5 of us write songs. Yeah. I know sometimes drummers don't write full, but Corey writes songs too. So it was all 5 of us. And I think we just got to a point where it was like a common sense, like, hey, rank the songs. And if whatever you put in first is going to get 5 points, and it was like math by the end.
You did the 100 for it.
Yeah. I think we did have to end up doing something like that. And, everyone contributes songs into the bank of songs, and we got to narrow it down and do it in a, I don't know if doing it in a democratic way is always the best way to go about it, because I do think that having someone with a vision is important. And I do think that, a lot of these songs originated with an idea Steve had. Like sometimes me and anybody in our band, but me and Steve might butt heads about certain things, or me and another band member. But I think Steve is my favorite songwriter in the world, and that's why I've been in a band with him for 30 years. I mean, other than being friends and loving to play music together, but I just think he's an amazing songwriter. And also he contributes a lot of song ideas, I don't think never would someone in our band's idea be pushed to the side. Like, everyone would get a fair shake if you have a good idea, and Steve contributes a lot. And I also like to think that I contribute a lot of ideas. And even that last track, Focus on Yourself, man, the song Another One was one where I kind of feel like the band was like, oh yeah, we should do this one. We should do this one. Focus on Yourself was one where it was on maybe the fence of like, should we do this one? Should we not? And I do think that I was like, hey, I'd really like to do this one. Yeah. I kind of believed in like lyrically and just like the whole vision. I had a vision in my head of what this song would be, even from the first demo of it. And I do think there's a certain amount of that too. Maybe politicking is the way you might put it. Yeah. Like really, but in some of Steve's songs too, I think maybe there's one or two songs where Steve maybe was like, yo, we should do this one. And I think that's okay. I think there's no set in stone way, but I think in our band, if you really believe in a song and you express that I think the other four guys will take it seriously. And, it's a good thing we go, even if it's not all, every song has its own way. It made it to the album. And every song is a special little treat.
Yeah. Well, so, and I guess this is a very quick follow-up question, but just to ask it, I assume that like, focus on yourself, right? Like you created that link, or you created that song. Would you say that it's still about, as much as it's everybody working together, are you kind of still the one that's in charge of maybe 90% of it? Or are there circumstances where like you've written a demo and someone else says like, hey, can I take that and run with it and like give the lyrics a shot and see what I can do with this? Like,
I would, every song's kind of its own thing once again, but I would personally be psyched if I had an idea. Now, I don't necessarily want someone to change something that I really love on the demo, but add to it, enhance it. Yes, or maybe change something completely if you have a better idea. I would never shy away from that. I think every song is its own thing. Sometimes we have demos that are just a chorus, and then as a group, we build on that. Or sometimes one of us will contribute a song that's like a whole thing. It's just an already completely mapped out song to the point where it's like, hey, everyone can put their touches on it, but the whole song is there. I could go song by song on this as far as, what percentage of the way it was there in its demo form. But I definitely think that the main thing is everyone puts their touch on it in some way or another. Everyone puts their fingerprints on every song. And, I think that's kind of the magic of Punchline. If it wasn't for that, it might as well be a solo song or, or something else. But once it's all said and done, I think everyone has put a little bit of their touch, even if it was a song that like Steve had completely written or whatever. I think he would agree. I've heard him say something like this before, that everyone is so good. And I'm not talking about myself, but my bandmates are very good. They're very good musicians and songwriters. Yeah,
you're also a very good bassist and singer.
Thank you, but
let's not.
But everyone puts their touch on it, be it maybe a lyric here and there, or a harmony, a guitar part, a bass line, a drum part, all that kind of stuff. It's a team effort in our band for sure. So yeah, every song's different though, as far as how finished it is.
All right. On that note, hey, everybody, go to wherever you listen to music and listen to Somewhere to Land from Punchline, because it's out now.
It is. Today's the day.